Hey Tigress, hey Tiger, let's have another walk together, a walk with words on paths of energy. I'm interested in sharing something in this episode about our dilemma or inner struggle with the self-doubt, I am not doing enough. And I see that happening very, very often when it comes to parents, because I have been working for so much time also in exclusive women groups, also in exclusive men groups, but especially women groups. I see that happening a lot in mothers, and I think that's part of the global or collective conditioning of mothers, like constantly blaming them on subconscious levels of you are not good enough as a mother. And then I see also that happening when it comes to our global and individual efforts of making an impact, changing the world, creating peace, ending war, etc. So it's super, super easy that whenever you show up for your environment, for issues around rainforest, war, violence, whatever, that you fall into burnout and you work your ass off and you support as much as you can those living beings around you who need your help and who benefit from your support. And still, or the even more, there is this inner nagging voice of I am not doing enough. So it can easily lead to even more depletion and burnout and desperation, and like get you very close or maybe even into collapse, giving it up at all and not showing up at all with what you can give and how you can help. So like what I want to share in this episode is it's kind of risky because it's so much out of the box and so much the other way around than how we normally deal with that. So normally, let me give you this picture or this example. Let's say I am, and yeah, we use the most explosive example that I can think of at the moment for this dynamics and for what I want to point out to you. So let's say I'm sitting there with a group of women, and some of them are mothers, and they are sharing, and I'm not a mother personally, and I don't want to become a mother. So I'm really talking from outside. However, when I talk about mothers, I know, okay, this is just an insane amount of energy, of focus, of love, of just care that you give to a small human being. And so there is a deep, deep respect for making that possible, that somebody grows up and having some kind of caretakers around. So thank you, mothers. Thank you, fathers. Thank you, parents. And I then hear those mothers sharing that there is this complex of mother guilt. I'm not giving enough. I'm not loving enough, etc. And then what we try usually is calming ourselves down and calming each other down with, hey, you give whatever you can and you give enough, and nobody is perfect and nobody is meant to give as an inexhaustible inner wellspring or fountain of just never-ending love and never-ending unconditional care and channeling each other's needs. Or like nobody is expecting more from you. Stop being so hard with yourself. So that is the normal way of how we try to talk ourselves out of this inner conflict or this inner self-blame. And there are let me say a few things about this point. First of all, if this inner calming you down works for you, keep doing that, because whatever works for you works for you. Whatever works for you works. Just keep using it. So I'm the last one saying stop doing that. If it works, if you go to bed with more self-love than if you wouldn't have talked with yourself in that way about your mother guilt complex, then keep talking with yourself like that. Or if your friend really says, okay, this really helps me, then keep saying that to your friend, because yes, it's incredibly true. Nobody can even be perfect on that level. We are not talking about that, and all of us are treating ourselves way too hard and way harder than even our enemies. So keep doing whatever works for you. But second issue or second point, check if it really works for you. Check if it just talks you away for a minute, and then the same mother guilt complex, or the same, I can't save the whole world, I have to save the whole world, so I'm lost and desperate and I have to give it up at all, and I get depressive and collapse. If this just is on a break for a minute and then it comes up again, maybe then you need another perspective on the whole dynamics going on than just trying to talk your issues away, because eventually your issues are never written in your mind. They are written in your nervous system. They are written in your life force, in your energy. And then there is one aspect of reflection of that also happening in your mind. So never ever try to change your belief system by trying to believe something else. I deeply see that this is so too superficial in order to really get to the root of the issue. And again, the disclaimer, the footnote, if it works for you, trying to believe something else, and then you start believing something else, keep believing something else by just doing that. However, there is nothing that I can share around that, because for me, this most definitely doesn't work at all. So, and here is where this episode comes in with the other aspect of what I share a lot in my work, at the moment only in German, and I'm very cautious about just throwing that out, because it can be so easily misunderstood, and understood, yes, but misunderstood. There is something when we are running around with inner belief systems that rationally do not make any sense, and we try to talk ourselves out of this, and it doesn't work fully. In many cases, it is stubborn or resistant or resilient to our attempts trying to get rid of those dynamics, because in the very core, in the very essence, our weirdest and most twisted belief systems hit the point. Our weirdest and most twisted and most obviously irrational belief systems may hit the point of your inner truth in a twisted way. So, are you doing enough for saving the world? Yes, you are doing everything you can. Exhale, relax, and regenerate yourself, because a burnout doesn't serve anybody. Yes. That being said, if you do not completely to 100% relax by just calming your way down, yourself down with what I said so far, then you might have to also face the fact that in the very depth, in the very core of your belief system that you are running around with and that you are suffering from in this moment, that at the very core, the belief system is on point. It's right. You are not off. You are not resistant to healing. You are already pretty awake. In the package of something twisted, there is something true. So when we now use this or apply this principle onto the mother that is full of mother guilt, I am not giving enough, on every level of action, on every level of caretaking, on every level of showing up with love and showing up with selflessness and showing up with caretaking, etc., etc., etc. She definitely does everything, and I think in many situations even more than what she can give and what a human nervous system, what you can expect. So to me, again, every mother, every father, every parent is a heroine and a hero in my eyes, because I can only see from outside how much this takes from the nervous system. And I'm just deeply grateful for so many people doing that with so much, resilience and so much endurance for a few years. 18 years, something like that. And there is another level, a very, very deep level, that got lost not in this woman becoming a mother, that got lost way before in the whole cultural upbringing, in the whole process of education, of conditioning at all. And that is, it's true. you are not giving enough on any level of your adult life because you have lost the direct access to your inner ecstasy and essence. There is a sense of unfiltered aliveness, of unfiltered radiance from the inside out. There is a sense of essence, of truth, of inner power that rests in yourself in an incredibly powerful and impactful way when it comes to the automatic impact on the outer world. And that is something that all of us hide. That is something that all of us neglect and put to the side because we learn to be afraid of that, and we learn to even fight that when those impulses want to come up to the surface. So on that level, yes, you are right. You are not giving enough. Same with the level of I want to save the world. I want to help all living beings who have to live in war at the moment to find peace inside and around and outside. And there is something where I, of course, can easily go into a depletion of I am not doing enough. But on the other hand, all that leads me into depletion is also trying to create peace in my pure action. And there is an inner sense of deep, deep peace of me with myself that doesn't come from not taking action. It doesn't come from not creating impact in the most concrete root chakra way that I can imagine. So it's an incredibly concrete and embodied and practical way. And still there is something where we keep mistrusting that the human being is a good being in its very essence. And as long as we are inheriting that from one generation to the other, I do know that it sounds a little bit like weird or off when I say in a radical way, the deepest trauma of this culture, of the modern civilization, is a deep mistrust towards the own essence. I deeply say that, I deeply mean that, I just deeply mean that. And I think that this is one of the most invisible and most suppressed and most unconscious layers of collective trauma that we are running around with at the moment. And the more it is ignored, the less we will be able to exit it in order to regulate it or to heal it. But we have to heal it in order to create a world that is full of peace on every level. When it comes to the outer world, we have to access this super unconscious inner level of war with ourselves. It's not you forgiving yourself the flaws. This is just the beginning. I'm sorry. But this deep, deep, deep embodied ecstatic remembrance of I am good, and this is coming up to the surface. The even faster or more direct I approach my inner shadow landscapes, in an even more direct and even more direct and even more direct and even more energetic and even more practical and even more embodied way. This is something, it's just so, it's like a tsunami. It's something that really just, if it doesn't put your world upside down within a second, if it doesn't scare you in the amount of impact, if it doesn't uproot everything you thought that would be true before, it's kind of not really talking about the depth that I'm talking about at the moment. So I really, really mean that you tapping back into a human being is something that is walking goodness, so to speak. I do not even know if you can phrase it that way in English. But you are so good without any alternative that the word good doesn't make any sense at all anymore. If you tap into those layers of vibrant, ecstatic, fully alive, inner peace, if you do that, it creates something that mirrors the impact of a nuclear bomb, but mirrors this impact in the healed or essential way, up to a point, and this is the most mystical part of this mystical walk, up to the point where I would say we have to meet the outer destructiveness of nuclear bombs and nuclear wars by exposing ourselves to the inner explosions that we will be experiencing in our inner worlds, in our nervous system, by unleashing those inner realizations. And the moment we can at least get closer to this challenge or process or moments or insights or revelations is the moment that we will just stop building, producing nuclear bombs, stop believing in them, stop creating situations where we might use them, where we might need them. It's just that the more we get to the thing that is in the essence of the package, the more the package is no longer useful. So at the moment we are looking at the package of, I'm not doing enough. At the moment we look at the package on another level, which is war at the moment. And the moment we unwrap that, the moment we unpack that, is the moment that it's just paper that was wrapped around, and we do not spend another second with this paper, this twisted thing around, because we have access again to the essence. And my deep belief or experience is, and that is also what my work is so much about, is we can't overcome all those layers of suffering from our inner self-blame, I'm not doing enough. And we can't overcome all those layers of suffering when it comes to the global level around violence and war and all those layers by just trying to get away from those packages. We have to dive energetically, embodiedly through those packages in order to reach the core. And the moment we did that, the moment we realized, wow, I wasn't giving enough. I was right. All those decades that I have been fighting myself and blaming myself and criticizing myself, I did that out of a good reason. I didn't give enough because I wasn't given my essence. I was given my functioning. I was giving my burnout. I was giving my activity, but I wasn't giving my essence. So the moment we realize what giving means secretly in our own inner instinctive landscape is the moment that our language, our terms, our phrases, our associations around certain terms recover and unwind from those twisted layers as well. And then everything falls into place in a way that we will just forget creating war because it's so incredibly uninteresting and so incredibly obvious that this doesn't work. We will stop blaming ourselves just because it's just completely against everything in ourselves that really is about impact and energy and instincts and nervous system, that we fight against ourselves. So that is my deep invitation, that whenever we try to overcome something, diving through it instead of trying to get into another direction or trying to get away from something that is a problem or that is something contradictious with yourself or that is something that is seemingly off or traumatic for you. Try to stay as embodied and as curious as you can around what is in the essence of this very weird and very twisted package, and unleashing those inner explosions of basically aliveness. And then we will experience that as expansion of our consciousness or as physical ecstasy or whatever, but it doesn't matter. It's just, or as unconditional love for oneself or for those around. It doesn't matter to some extent, because all of those are just symptoms of this inner moment of, okay, I got through the package. And now, wow, I see what all of that has been about in all those years that I didn't meet my inner truth with awareness of, okay, I am on point when I'm not giving enough. I am on point when I am not good enough, etc., etc., etc. So this is incredibly challenging, I know. At the same time, again, the thing that a human being is instinctively meant to give is of course not this outer exhaustion that all of us learn to obey to in this culture, but it is something that is deeply impactful and deeply living a very active life, also really supporting others, but resting in an inner way of being resourced and being an inexhaustible source of inspiration and energy, we are walking energy batteries. We are walking energy generators. And this is a very peaceful and at the same time a very enriching and alive experience. So, and all of us are students on this weird way back. Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for your curiosity. Let me know maybe in the comments below if you're curious about other aspects of this. I call it, this is the part of my work and teaching that I call, or that I phrase with the hashtag dark essence. So everything that I published so far at the moment is published in my German online community, Kali's Kiss. And yeah, I'm very curious about figuring out if and how I can share more about that also in English. So help me be creative and check out the links below, and you are super welcome in being part of this research circle. Bye.